This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today I'm joined by Barry Widmer of Widmer's Tobacco Shop. Barry, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you.
Barry, so what is Widmer's Tobacco Shop?
Widmer's Tobacco Shop has changed throughout the years, but, we're still what we are, which is a premium tobacco shop, bringing premium cigars and high-end tobaccos and pipes to Delaware County.
How did all this get started for you?
Oh, we've got to go back to 1968 when Macdade Mall, which is where we were founded, was opened. My grandfather was working for Vertal, and he had to take part of his pension out because he wasn't fully vested at the time. My father was just getting out of Vietnam, so he had his GI Bill. So they went into business together, and they bought into a franchise called Tabasco Village, along with my grandmother and then my uncle, who joined in. They opened up the first store in Macdade Mall in 1968. It was Widmer's Tobacco Shop until 1970 when Tobacco Village defunct. They were no longer supporting their stores anymore. They were going under. So they gave every store the choice of keeping the name Tobacco Village. In our case, it'd be Tobacco Village of Ridley. Or we could change and put whatever we wanted on it. And the family decided that they were going to put their name up on the billboard. So in 1970, we became Widmer's Tobacco Shop.
What's your first recollection of the family business? Do you have some memories that you kind of think about from the beginning?
I remember at one point a box of toy soldiers that was kept in the store for me when I went in with my dad to play with, and I was only probably about 5, 6 years old at the time, if that. But yeah, I would set the little soldiers up all over the backs of the countertops and on the shelving, and I'd have little wars. And then I had some plastic dinosaurs I used to play with, and I used to take my nap in the humidor room because at the time our humidor room was behind the counter. I would go and curl up on the bags of tobacco and fall asleep in the middle of the day. That's when I took my nap. And then I'd get up and I'd walk around the mall because, hey, my dad had the coolest job. It was the 80s and my dad had a store in a mall. So that was the greatest job in the world.
Those were the heydays of malls back then.
That's it. Dad was cool,
Do you have a memory of your first cigar, or do you remember any kind of pipe smoking, or what was like that first cigar or tobacco experience for you?
So I remember the deal was we weren't allowed to smoke until we were out of high school. That was the deal. I have an uncle who's 6 years older than me, and it was the same thing with him. We weren't allowed to smoke until then. I remember my first cigar was a Tiamo Maximo Maduro, which would have grown hair on anybody's chest. That was a real dog rocket. Cigars have gotten much better since then. But you're talking, at the time, it would have been 1990. The summer of 1990 would have been my first cigar. I was 18 years old and I was allowed to do it. Now, I'm not saying I didn't try something here or there beforehand when Dad wasn't around, but that was the first time I actually sat down and smoked a cigar.
And now this is your business.
Yes.
You've carried on the legacy of the family. What has it been like for you to have that family? I mean, this is like a mainstay in Delco. What's that like for you?
It's not a job. It's just a place I come to hang. I have a fantastic job. I mean, I'm never going to get rich, but I can pay the bills. But I get to come to work every day, hang out with some fantastic people, smoke cigars, and just BS. And it's not a job. That's just hanging out. And I get paid to do it, so it's cool.
You spoke to the change of Tobacco Village, and the changes in the industry overall. But what changes have you seen since your involvement with the tobacco shop to where it is today? Some trends or just some things that you noticed from before that either are there today or even stronger today?
Oh, wow. The pipe and pipe tobacco has fallen off a bit. It's not as popular as it used to be at one point. They're diehards. There are some guys out there that are really into it and make it really fun to deal with. As far as the cigars are concerned, it's like night and day. It has changed so much. It used to be you dealt with just a couple people. You had distributors, big distributors that sold everybors's goods. You'd get a few reps that would come in and service you, but everything came out of these distributorships. Now everything's personalized. These cigar owners are rock stars. They get treated like rock stars when you come into the shops. This started with the Rocky Patels and the Jonathan Drews of Drew Estate, where these guys come in crowds of people who want to come and party with them and hang with them and smoke with them. And, the culture has changed so much. Mostly for the better. It's become a lot more fun. Some of the price gouging, some of the discounting has become a little extreme at times. You start to get these online companies with this buying power, but they keep you on your toes. They keep you thinking, they keep you looking for the next best thing. I myself, I don't buy into a lot of that, what they call the heritage brands. That would be the H. Upmans, the Macanudos, the Punch, Hoya de Monterey, the guys that have been around forever. Do I have a box or two here and there of them? Yes. But I try to go for the stuff that's a little harder to get, that you don't see discounted. You don't see on Cigar Page. You don't see discounted on Cigar International's website and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking those guys. I mean, they are the reason that we have no taxes in Pennsylvania. We couldn't do it without them. They have the money. They have the coffers. They have the people that are, that are fighting for us to keep our doors open. So, any small tobacco shop or business that, is talking bad about them, they need to reevaluate the situation because, all of us need to thank them, because if it wasn't for Cigars International and Famous and Holtz and Atlantic, these guys that have deep pockets, we wouldn't be doing the business we're doing today. So, that's about it. I mean, I used to buy from 3 or 4 places. Now I buy from 40. Everybody's individualized. Everybody has their own spin on how they do business, on how they sell things, whether, some companies want you to do a set, which might be, 20, 30 different facings. Some companies are just happy to get a couple boxes in the store, and you have everything in between. Where before the salesman would come in, hey, how you doing? Maybe have lunch with you. You'd sit down, you would put your order together, and it would come in from this distributorship, and that was it. Like, it just came in, and you wouldn't see them again for 3 months. Now I see some of these salesmen, twice a month. If they're local, they'll, they poke their head in. Sometimes once every 6 weeks, depending on how big their territory is. Sometimes I only see them twice a year. But it's usually fun when they get in here.
It sounds like there's a deeper, stronger sense of relationship across the spectrum with a lot of these representatives, these brands.
Absolutely. And I think part of it is they have the understanding that they're not the only show in town anymore. The competition out there is fierce. Again, with the internet, everybody can go online. Everybody can research. Everybody can find out everything there is about these companies and about their products. And they have to be on their A game, because if they're not, it gets out there fast. It's a small community and everybody knows. So if you're starting to put out some bad product, people know about it quickly. So there's no forgiveness until the next great thing.
That's right. Until the next great thing, right?
That's it. They can have a dog turd one day, and the next day they're the greatest rollers in the world. It just depends. This is a finicky business.
Barry, what can people expect when they come to Widmer's tobacco shop?
I think we do a really good job of taking the stress away from the shopping experience. I think when you come in, we don't force things down your throat. We let you just organically walk around the store and sort of pick up the vibe of the place. And, when you walk into the humidor, we're not right on top of you like some shops. And I understand why they do it. Theft is rampant in this business, being that, a lot of this stuff is so small and yet so expensive. But keeping cameras in there, we can keep there's an eye in the sky. But overall, I think just letting them do their thing until they're ready. And sometimes we're watching the video cameras and we'll see, you'll see the guys, go from one area to the next, and then eventually they look lost. And at that point, we'll walk in and, hey, can we help you with something? It's just, something particular you're looking for, and we try to guide them. But we really don't force any one brand or any one thing on them. If we're having a sale on something, we'll let you know. It will inform you, but I'm not going to push it on you because I want you to come back. I want you to have the best experience possible, and not when you're smoking it going, oh, I can't believe this guy pushed a cigar on me. It's not what I wanted. I try to get to know their flavor profile. First thing I'll ask you is, what do you smoke? What have you smoked? What do you like? What don't you like? And going from those questions, I can usually get a pretty good pinpoint of what you will like. And I can sort of guide you that way. I've been doing this a long time, a really long time.
I think there's a balance, especially for, as you pointed out, you've been doing this a long time, recognizing the novice cigar smoker who's apprehensive to go in, because as humans, we like to portray that we know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And, not wanting to have to ask questions because we feel like, well, now this cigar aficionado is going to judge us, right? And then there's the other side of that cigar aficionado that comes in and they know what they want, but maybe it's hard to take them off of their, that base, right? And try something different. So it's really building a relationship with your customer, whether they're beginning to smoke cigars or they've been smoking cigars and have a love and just, hey, I can't wait to just get my regular or try something new that I've never tried before.
Oh, absolutely. I think you have to build trust with them. Every once in a while, I'm not going to lie, I strike out, and the guy will come in and, oh, Barry, what were you thinking? I'll be like, well, what didn't you like about it? What and it started out a little too spicy for me, or it didn't develop enough, or, I didn't like the hints of whatever. And then I say, okay, well, and I'll start asking, what were you drinking? What were you eating? Have you had other cigars that day? Because all those things change your palate.
Right.
And I may say to him, hey, listen, next time try doing this first. And 9 out of 10 times they'll usually come back and, oh my God, you were right. It was fantastic.
It's interesting.
I can't believe.
It's interesting. And what you bring up is so key. What did you have to drink? What did you have to eat? What part of the day are you smoking that cigar? Because our taste buds, our senses, were you outside a lot? Were you inside a lot? These are all the factors that, you now take responsibility for as somebody that recommends a cigar.
That's right. And, it's funny. Things, like you said, even your environment can change a cigar. Like, I have a lounge in my store. I don't like to smoke in it. You'll see me outside smoking most days. I enjoy being outside. And until it's either really, really hot or really, really cold, I like to sit out front. I don't know if it's just the ambiance of just getting to watch people watch, and it makes my day go fast. But I feel like it changes the taste of what I'm smoking. It's not as intensified. I think with the extra air, everything sort of sweetens up a little bit. So I do probably 95% of my smoking outside, unless it's a pipe. If I'm smoking a pipe at a time, I'll smoke a pipe anywhere. But as far as cigars, I try to keep it outside. You
mentioned you have this lounge. So if you want to come in, it's wintertime, it's summertime, you want to hang out with friends, you have all these TVs back here. You've got this space that's a real community space.
Oh, yeah. And you come on a Friday and, we're pretty busy, and, a lot of guys are back here, and, they're from all walks of life. This is a crazy business in that you see so many people from so many different demographics, and they're all in here and they're all talking, they're all enjoying each other's company, where outside of this place, they may not even talk to each other for one reason or another. But you'll have a trash man sitting next to a fireman, sitting next to a lawyer, who's sitting across from a guy who may have just gotten out of jail last week. Like seriously, it's all walks of life. But when they're back here, it's a brotherhood, and
And don't forget, it's also a sisterhood, because there are plenty of ladies that are smoking cigars.
Absolutely, and we actually have our regulars that come back here, and you're absolutely right. Everybody just sort of gets along, and they talk. And I have rules, no, just like a bar. Don't talk religion. It just causes arguments. If you don't have to talk about your politics or your views, please don't do so, because again,
right.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Well, it's Delco, so
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you have an opinion?
Of course. So I mean that's it, and from time to time things will get heated back here, and nothing, no fight. I mean, just you'll get a heated argument. I can actually hear it through the exhaust system. I'll hear something rattle through, and I'll be like, "Oh Lord!" And I'll go back there and I referee. I'll come back and no, you're crazy. You're that's ludicrous. You need to put some aluminum foil on your head. You get the conspiracy theorists. Like I said, it's all walk of life.
Absolutely.
So, but no, overall, it's just a bunch of really good people hanging out, enjoying something that they all have in common, which is tobacco and cigars.
You do have events here from time to time. Talk about some of those events you do here.
We do. So what we do in here, because I have such little space, I mean, my lounge is only good for like 8 to 10 people. So we are considered, a cash and carry with a small area to smoke. We are, and by no way, shape, or form would I call myself a lounge, because I just don't have that kind of space, to support that. But what I would say is that, what we do is cut and lights, and we do them probably, I'm going to say 15 to 17, 20 times a year, where, I bring in a company, we'll do discounted items, we'll run, a sale for the whole weekend. We usually do them on Fridays, and, to kick off the weekend. And, they get specials, a 4-in-1, a 10-in-3. And, we usually set up some kind of raffle with the distributor, with whoever's running it. And, they'll come in and they buy their product, and if they have a qualifying purchase, we put a ticket in. I mean, they've won all kinds of cool stuff. We've raffled off Traeger grills. We've raffled off corridors. We've raffled off the one time we did fall cleanup. It was fall. It was right before fall, so we did like a leaf blower and like pop-up trash can, like everything you would need to clean up the leaves that year. Because we figured, hey, you could throw a cigar in your mouth and you could walk around your lawn and clean your lawn up. And, so we try to get a little bit creative. And so do the salespeople, the people who represent the cigar companies. They like to get involved too. And they'll be like, hey, why don't we try this? Okay, let's try that. We can do that, Sometimes it's as simple as a humidor and some wine glasses or some bourbon glasses or Miami Cigar gave away a beautiful bottle of bourbon one year, and rum. We did rum before, so I mean, it just depends. It depends on what mood we're in and what we're going to do that day.
I'll tell you what; these events sound fascinating. How do people learn about them? Your website, social media. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we're pretty strong in social media. We run off of Facebook and Instagram. At Widmer's Tobacco Shop. We advertise anything that's going on, usually about a week before, and then leading up to, we'll put it out there probably once a day. The day before, you might see it 2 or 3 times a day on the sites, and it'll just pop up. But if you follow us, then you can get all the information you need. And
if somebody wants to shop directly and come to your store, what's the address?
It's 2040 Parker Avenue in Holmes, Pennsylvania. It's a sort of an odd spot. We are right at the corner of Parker and Macdade Boulevard. So some people think we're on Macdade Boulevard, and other people know better. So I just tell everybody next to Roy Tweedy's.
Perfect. Now, you're Delco. How do you describe Delco to somebody either that's not been here before or that's, believe it or not, never heard of Delco?
It's a giant dysfunctional family. Have you watched Shameless? Just intensify that and make it about 1 million people. Now, Delco's great. I mean, we always kid that, you have that whole Kevin Bacon, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Well, you have the 2 degrees of Delco. Because everybody knows everybody. There's nothing in Delco that you can get away with that somebody doesn't know. It's something, they either heard it from a friend or heard it from a family member. If you're in South Delco, somebody in North Delco heard it. If you're in North Delco, somebody in South Delco heard it. If you're in West Delco, somebody, and straight, it's just, it gets out there and it gets out there fast. But it's also great because they support you. We're a giant community. Sure, we all have our towns and, the areas that we grew up in. But Delco is definitely something different. I live in Delaware, which is right across the border. And, I kid with people all the time. And I said, I live in Delco, but I sleep in Delaware. And that's because I'm always going to be Delco. I've been in Delco my whole life, and I don't plan on leaving. So, it's that family you can never get away from.
You're driving up to the store?
Yes.
And you have a cheesesteak craving? Where are you stopping?
Oh, wow. Good question. I'm not going to lie. I'm a Ridley guy. I like Anna's. Anna's one of my favorites. Good guy over there. So I usually hit Anna's.
You've satisfied that cheesesteak craving, and you're in the mood for a pizza. Where are you going in Delco for a pizza?
If I'm staying local, I'm going to Tower, and I'm getting the upside down pizza. If I can get out of the area, I'm going all the way out to Conkerville, and I'm going to Ravenise. Out there on Route 1, phenomenal place. Little place, one guy makes everything. Really, really good pizza.
You're out and about, you finish up, closing up the store, had a great day. One of those events that you talked about, you gave away that Traeger grill that I didn't win. Would have loved to win. But you need a convenience store option. Where are you stopping? Wawa or Royal Farms?
Oh, Wawa, of course. Royal Farms. You should lose your Delco card if you stop at Royal Farms.
Where are they issuing these Delco cards? I got to get one.
I'm telling you.
You have friends or family coming in from out of town, and you want to give them that Delco experience. Where are you taking them, or where are you sending them?
Oh, wow. Good question.
Besides, maybe grabbing some cigars, coming in here, or taking them out somewhere. Where are you going?
I guess I wouldn't mind I would probably take them down to Media, let them go see State Street, maybe stop in Pairings, go see my friends at Pairings, grab a cigar there. There's some great bars and restaurants over there, so I probably want to walk around there.
Barry, who mentors you? Who do you look up to, or who impacts you?
Oh, wow. Probably my father. I grew up watching him day in and day out grind it. And I mean grind it. We're talking back in the late 80s when tobacco really took a dive. There was a period of time where, I kid and I tell everybody, I don't like fish sticks and I don't like hot dogs. And the reason I don't like that is because I was being fed them every day. Mom and dad were struggling. And I watched him get up every day and work his 12-hour day and come home and do it all over again and still show up for anything we had going on. And I'm one of four. I have 3 little sisters. So, we were all going different places and running around, and, they had to go here and had to go there. And, he always did his best to try to be there. And then on top of that, just teaching me the business. I think I got my work ethic from him. I think I would have to say that I got my pride of ownership from him. He showed up, he put the time in, and he took pride in the business. And I think that got instilled in me and my grandmother. My grandmother, I worked a lot of years with her. I was blessed to spend as much time as I did, especially towards the end. My grandmother stopped working in the business at 86 years old.
Wow.
So she did it for a really long time. And when I took over the business in 2000, my father had retired and had gone down he lives in Ocean View, Delaware. So he sort of moved down there and he's working for DelDOT. So it was just me and my grandmother at the time. And then when Macdade Mall decided to close up and we had to move out, my grandmother looked at me and goes, "I don't know what you want to do, but I'm done." And I said, "Well, what do you mean you're done?" She goes, "I don't want to own it anymore." I said, "Well, what?" She goes, I just want to work. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want the pressures of it anymore. You run it. I'm going to work for you. And that's what we did. We had a deal where she just came in. She worked what day she wanted for the amount of hours that she wanted. And that's what she did. And she did it for, she did it for probably 7 or 8 years before she slowed down and she started getting sick. But I mean, she just came in. She was a trooper, 45 minutes before her shift to make sure that everything was organized, make sure that everything was straightened up, and then, you see that and you take notice. The only thing I wish I could have done better is I wish I could have been on time more because I am infamously late. But it isn't because I don't care. It's because usually my time management's so bad.
So much to do in so little time, right?
I try to cram so much. And anybody who knows me, anybody who's been around me sees it. I try to cram so much in such a short amount of time that I look down at my watch and 20 minutes going by and I'm supposed to have already been on the road. Even today, I was supposed to meet up with you guys. And I was 15 minutes late. Why? Because I was home trying to get stuff done. So if there's anything I could say, I wish I would have gotten her time management better.
What motivates you? What gets you out of bed every morning?
I could be obnoxious and just say money, but it's not. It really isn't. If I wanted money, I wouldn't be in this job. My family, my daughter. I started really late in life with my family. I'm going to be 51 years old next month, and I have a 4-year-old. And she's an amazing human being, and I enjoy watching her grow. And I think what motivates me and what keeps me going is knowing that, she relies on me. And I need to set an example. So, and I love bringing her here. Not that she'll ever work here. I tell everybody, I kid with them, this is the last generation. I am it. The buck stops here. When I retire, we close shop. And we'll turn the lights off and say, thank you, Delco.
But that's not right now, and that's a while out.
Oh, no.
You have more opportunities to make new friends.
Oh, absolutely.
And just see where you take this business, where it goes.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had thoughts of opening up other shops, opening up, in multiple locations. I've talked to other people who've wanted to get in on it with me. I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll wait and see.
That's it.
Is there anything we haven't shared on the podcast today? Is there anything you want the listeners to know about you or more about Widmer's Tobacco Shop?
Well, I just think the only thing I can say is, seriously, thank you, Delco. Over the years, I'm third generation. You supported my family for 3 generations. And I've gotten to see a lot of people come through them doors and multiple generations. I've seen their grandparents and then their parents, and now I'm seeing them, and now I'm even seeing some of their kids. So I'm seeing 3 and 4 generations that have walked through my doors. And, seeing them sometimes is like family. Sometimes, family isn't always who you're stuck with. It's the people you choose. And it's pretty cool when you can, they come in. For instance, somebody came in yesterday, wanted to get cigars. Their kid was graduating from Ridley, and they wanted to get cigars. And, I remember when her grandfather came in, and I remember when her parents came in to pick up stuff for her grandfather. And then she started coming in, and now, here's her kid graduating, 18 years old. Who knows? It might be the next generation. So I would have served 4 generations in that family. I think that's pretty neat.
That is neat. This has been wonderful. This is what happens. People come in, you just start talking. You get to know somebody, and you realize how ingrained they are in the community and how much they've seen out through that front windshield of life. Delco come and Delco go, and people come in, and all these things happen. And that's what Widmer's, prior, the Tobacco Village, but you've seen Delco change. And as much as it changes, it stays the same. Thanks so much for being a friend of What's Happening, Delco. We'll be back. We need more cigars and appreciate the opportunity for you to guide us to those choices that become our new favorites.
Thank you. And this was fun.
Thanks, Barry.
Take care.